What's up, y'all? This is Brave, and I'm back for another review of Impact Atlanta, and this is Season 2, Episode 2. Let's get right into this review. Alright, so we start this episode off with Carly. She is with a few of her friends, and they are riding ATVs or whatever, and they stop to have a conversation. So we learn that the guy there, his name is Zoe, or should I say Zoe, maybe? Maybe it's Zoe, not Zoe. But he is her manager, and he also used to work for Young Thug. So they talk about the party. And as we know, Carly has issues with a few people. Again, she talks about how she needs to talk to Tay because they grew apart. And according to her, she hung out with Dez more than one time. They were working on music. It never came out. I'm just like, girl, could you please get over it? Like, the girl don't want to be your friend. It's okay. Move on. So now she talks about how Ari brought up Mariah the Scientist, who's actually dating Young Thug. And according to Zoe, he's like, listen, Dez invited, us out to a Mariah concert. So it really looks like Dez had the wrong intentions. It seems like Dez was being shady, like, oh, I'm going to invite you out to Mariah's concert, I guess in hopes that you learn that her and Young Thug is together. I don't know. It looks very shady, you know what I'm saying, for you to invite them to a concert and then completely ghost them. Like, I don't know. There's something off about this entire situation. I'm just not exactly sure where to pinpoint it. Because I understand where Desi's coming from, where she's like, girl, we not really friends like that. Get over it. But also, I'm giving you a side eye because it's like, well, why did you invite her to the concert? Especially if you had prior knowledge that Mariah and Young Thug was talking. Now, unless, I'm going to try to throw you a bone here, you found out that Mariah and Young Thug was talking after you had invited this girl and after she had showed up. So the next time she hits you up, you kind of avoided her to be like, ooh, I don't know what to say because I put you in a sticky situation. Like, I don't know. I don't know. Let me know what y'all think about that. But nonetheless, we actually slide on over to Dez, okay? We get to hear her perspective. And she's sitting there with her friends, and she just feel like, baby girl, we were not friends. They had a working relationship. And Dez also feels like Mariah is her friend, and because she's dating Young Thug, Carly is mad about it. Okay, some of those things could definitely be true. I feel like Carly is definitely mad because she didn't get back with Young Thug like she normally does, and now he's moved on to somebody else. But also, this whole thing is low-key giving high school, and I'm kind of over it already. So let's slide on over to Ari, you guys. We actually see her with her sisters, Bird and Kiana. So they talk about Tucson's party, and Ari felt like the girls were skating over the real issue, and I agree. So now they talk about how the issue had to have been Mariah, and I'm just like, again, is this high school? Because y'all are over here fighting over a man and fighting over, are you friends with her? And it's just too much. So Ari goes on to talk about how she is all about spoiling her child. She is planning a $60,000 Wakanda themed birthday party for him, and her sisters feel like he is ungrateful. Keep in mind, you guys, this child is 4. The fact that they can fix their lips and say that your child is ungrateful, that says a lot. I'm sorry. That is not a normal thing for people to say. A 3, 4, under 10-year-old, honestly, is ungrateful. Like, baby boy is barely getting out of pre-K. How are you ungrateful already? That's crazy. So, they even talk about how she needs to tell him how she used to get her ass beat. I said, wait a second, what is that going to do though? Like, are you going to start whooping him? What's happening here? Because that also makes me wonder, how are you raising your child? Is he able to just talk back, say whatever he wants to adults? or to anybody. Ari, what kind of parenting are you doing over there? Yeah, it's giving a side eye because it make it seem like your child is bad as hell. But nonetheless, um, these girls actually talk about, how they grew up and they did not have their dad around. So I believe that Bird has a different father than Ari and Kiana. And according to Kiana as well as Ari, he was around a little bit when they were younger, but as they grew older, he just kind of disappeared. And Ari talks about how she's been in abusive relationships and how, she didn't have the best examples of a good relationship. And because her dad, he failed her at that. Now, I'm just curious if her mom ever dated other people besides her dad. Because I don't know Ari's life. I don't know if her sister Bird is older than her and her sister Kiana. Because I'm just curious, like, did your mom not date ever again, so you never saw her in a good relationship? Like, or is it because she wasn't in a relationship with your dad no more, you didn't deem those relationships as good? I'm just curious. But nonetheless, Ari goes on to talk about how, if her dad was around more, that she probably wouldn't have gone through the relationships that she did go through. But here's the thing, I'm going to be completely honest with y'all. That doesn't mean that. All because you had your dad around does not mean that you won't go through a messed up situation dating somebody else. Because if anything, nobody knows that they're going to date somebody that's abusive. Like, you don't go into a relationship knowing that this person is going to put hands on you until they actually do. Because most of the times, those people are very sweet to you. They're very nice to you. They do everything for you, especially at the beginning of that relationship. Now, do I think that she would have stuck around longer in those messed up relationships? Probably not. But I also am a believer that sometimes you just get dealt an unfair hand. And it doesn't matter how you were raised or if your parents were in your life on a daily, that doesn't stop you from getting dealt a bad hand. So her sister Bird actually suggested that Ari, try to reach out to her father or whatever, so that way they can have a conversation. And I'm sorry, y'all, but I really hate that idea of these children having to chase after grown ass men who abandoned them. It's annoying. We've seen it so many times on multiple reality shows. You have these children who have to go chase after their daddy, go dig them up, find out where the hell they are, because they decided that they did not want to be a part of their children's life. Like, I'm sorry. I understand that that may be a wound for people, but sometimes you gotta leave them parents where they are. Sometimes it was better off without them. Like, seriously. But let's go ahead and move on. So we actually see Tay and Tucson. They are shopping for fabric because Tay has a fashion line called Ho Shit. I'm like, okay, cool. If that's what you want to do, buddy. So these two actually talk about how Tucson plans on getting in the studio with Cash Doll. And that's pretty big for him considering, he's just now trying to dip his toes into rapping seriously. And, Cash Doll is an actual artist and they're both from Detroit, right? So, of course, Tay is happy for him, possibly working with an artist who has a name or whatever. And then Tucson goes on to talk about Miss Carlet and how she was messy. She showed up to his party, she wasn't invited, and he just really don't like that girl. So now we get more of a backstory of Jerika, as they kept calling her, and Tay. Because their friendship, it started out as Tay was doing her hair, they clicked or whatever. However, at some point, it was told to Tay that she made some stuff up about him and he did not appreciate it. So he basically just moved on from her. He didn't give her a conversation. He didn't confront her about it. Whatever it was, he was not feeling it. So, as Tucson is telling the story of how these two girls that got into it, Tay is clearly on Dez's side because once he even heard about her getting into it with Carlay, he's like, yeah, okay, I'm on Dez's side because he ain't feeling that girl. So let's go ahead and move on to Lakia, y'all. She is filming the photo art for her single, right? You know, Water Hood. And she got this man in the car or whatever, and he's supposed to be like her main guy. And I'm just like, again, Lakia, you don't want this man, so why is he here? Someone please let me know why he's here. But nonetheless, she wants to get everything right because this has to be a hit single for her. Now, y'all, she said one thing that stood out to me, and I was just like, wow, times have really changed. Because she said a hit single isn't made, it's promoted. And I'm just like, I mean, I guess, but I definitely feel like you knew you had a hit on your hands back in the day. In today's music, I'm not really sure. I'm not sure what is going on in the music industry. But nonetheless, we see her girl, what's her name? Keontae, I believe. She's the creative director and also everything else to Lakia, okay? She her sidekick, her pal, her lover, homie friend. She all of the things. Now, at one point, I believe that she got a phone call from Tucson. She invites him to DC Pride because she's going to be performing. And I'm like, all right, that's cool. So she ends up talking to Keontae about her single that's supposed to be coming out, right? And how she really wants it to be big because, you know, she wants to prove to QC that this is a good song and all of this crap, right? The only thing that I kept thinking was, wait a second. You have a song talking about how you want them hood, and didn't the City Girls just have a song talking about if they want a thug or I need a thug? Like, aren't they on the same label? Why are they basing songs on the same concepts? Yeah, quality control. Get it together. But nonetheless, let's slide on over to Tucson because he's in the studio dropping some beats, spitting some bars. You know what I'm saying? Cash Doll, she come through. And let me tell y'all one thing about Cash Doll. I have actually seen her in person, and baby girl, beautiful. She had on no makeup when I saw her. Beautiful black girl, very nice, very well spoken. She's a really nice girl, okay? But nonetheless, Cash Doll, she come through. They talk about how, you know, he's always been interested in rapping when he was younger, and now he's ready to get back into it. So he ends up playing her a track, and she says that, you know, she'll love to do a feature with him, and it's cool. Like, I really didn't like this scene because at least we see him trying. Like, Tucson is really trying to make this music thing happen, and hopefully it does work out for him. But let's go ahead and move on, you guys. So let's talk about Ari. She's meeting up with her friends, and they talk about Yosan's birthday party and how, you know, he's about to graduate from TK. And all I can say is, girl, cherish these moments because they grow up very fast. They also mentioning her co-parenting with G Herbo, and as of right now, I guess their co-parenting is I. You know what I'm saying? It ain't the greatest because, let's be honest, they live in two different places. So it ain't gonna be that great. But this man, he pop in when he can. But then they go on to talk about her relationship with Moneybagg, and she says that, you know, he made her grow up. She was still trying to do that high school type stuff. And he's like, nah, we ain't doing that in this relationship. You're not about to be popping off and doing all this ghetto stuff. With me, I'm not that guy. He puts her in her place, and she loves it. Now let's move on over to Lakia because she is with her girl Keontae or whatever. And we learn that she's not going to perform Warm Hood at the DC show because, you know, that's not exactly the audience, I guess. But I'm just like, well, girl, you should have been honest in your music and made the song, like I said, about studs. But I digress. So we actually learned that she's been with her girl Keontae for 6 years. I did not know that. I didn't think they were together that long. That's a while, for real, for real. But nonetheless, like I said, why are you rapping about men when you have a whole girlfriend? that you've been with for 6 years, girl. But I digress. Tucson shows up or whatever, and he had his man with him. Now they are a really cute couple. I'm like, look at these two cute couples right here. Tucson and his man, Lakia and her girl. Okay. So we learned that Tucson as well as Lakia, they don't want to be labeled by their sexuality as an artist. And I get that because you just want to be known for your talent. So we do get to see Lakia. She does her performance in DC. The crowd was all into it, and they were really rocking with her. And the thing is, Lakia is not a bad rapper. I just think that, again, if we could get some original material from some of these people, I think that, there's a chance that they may go a little further. You know what I'm saying? Instead of constantly remixing old songs. But nonetheless, we're going to move on. So we actually see Ari. She is celebrating Yeosan's graduation. Tucson comes through with his custom Ari shirt. And I'm just like, sir, where'd you get this made? And Ari, if you were smart, you would probably try to sell it because you have a fan base now. But nonetheless, at this party, they talk about how basically G Herbo overslept. So he missed his flight and he missed the graduation. So she is going on about how important this graduation is. And I'm just like, Ari, it's pre-K. He has a few more graduations to make it to, okay? But nonetheless, Ari, she was about to say something real slick at the table about Herb, but one of her friends cut her off and was like, you don't have to make him sing perfect or bad. AKA, you do know that you can shut up right now and not try to be on national TV and throw this man under the bus. And, I realized that Ari actually loves to make him look bad. And her family eggs it on. Because her sister, she had questioned Ari, oh, do you think he intentionally didn't show up to the graduation? And I'm just like, why would he intentionally not show up to his child's graduation? That doesn't even make sense. And I'm just like, okay, so the family eggs it on. The family don't mess with Herb like that. And I get it. He did your sister wrong. Now, here's the thing. It sounds like Herb has a record of not always being around fully when he should be, because according to Ari, at Yeosan's birthday party, Herb ended up leaving early because he had a performance to do or a show or something like that. And I'm just like, oh, okay, well, that's another strike against him in Ari's eyes. So it's very clear that she is letting her feelings about her own dad affect her, because no offense, Ari, you got with a rapper. Can we be for real and have a serious conversation real quick? I don't really be feeling bad when people have babies by rappers and then they be like, woe is me, the dad isn't always around. They're artists. They're not always going to be around. There's definitely going to be times when your son is playing on the football team or on the basketball team and Herb ain't coming to them games. When y'all decide to date these rappers and have children with them, actually not just rappers, if you have any type of partner who's working, they're an entertainer, for sure, they are not always going to be around. And what makes it worse is that he don't even live in the same state as y'all. Okay? So, again, Herb is not always going to be around, and especially because he has two different households that he has children in. So now he has to spread himself even thinner to make sure that he's spending time with both of these sets of kids. It's all a mess if you really ask me. So we actually see G Herbo. He shows up, to the party or whatever. And Ari, she said that she didn't even give him the address because he could have taken the flight right back home because he missed the graduation. I said, okay, now Ari, you're very petty. That is very, very petty. Very, very petty. The man missed his flight. He tried to, get on the next one. At least he tried. He didn't just go back home and get back in bed. You don't have to be that petty, girl. But nonetheless, we do see Ari and Herb have a conversation. And she told him that he was a terrible dad. And he definitely felt a way about that because he told her straight up, like, you hurt my feelings. And it hurt him that he missed the graduation. Here's the thing. Is G Herbo a terrible dad? I don't know this man from Adam. But in this case, I don't want to even say that it's so much that you're a terrible dad. It's that you're an uninvolved parent. Okay? You come around when you can. You come around when it's convenient for you. You're not here in the day-to-day routine. And that doesn't make for a good parent. You alright? It's cool that you can probably provide money. And when you come around, it's fun time. But you are not a constant in your child's life because you are a rapper, number one, and also you are not living in the same state as your child. So Herbo is questioning Ari, like, do you honestly feel like I'm a terrible dad? And we don't get an answer out of her because that is where the show ends. But it's very clear that she does think that he's terrible. It is absolutely clear. But y'all, that was the episode. Let me know what y'all thought about it. Do y'all think that G Herbo is a bad father? Do you think that Ari needs to meet up with her daddy and go chase him down? Do you think Carly and Des can let this little drama that they have go? Yeah, let me know what y'all thought about this episode. Go ahead and like, comment, and subscribe to my channel, and I will talk to y'all in my next review. Bye, guys.